The war between humanity and the Zyloth Empire had raged for decades. Starships burned in the void, planets were reduced to ash, and countless lives were lost on both sides. But amidst the chaos, something extraordinary happened. A truce was called. Not because of diplomacy or mutual exhaustion, but because of love. Corporal Jack Ironheart Malone, a grizzled human soldier with a reputation for surviving impossible odds, found himself at the center of it all. During a skirmish on the jungle moon of Zyloth Prime, Jack had been separated from his squad. He stumbled upon a Zylothian noblewoman, Lady Zynara, who had been injured and left behind by her own people. Despite their differences, Jack couldn't leave her to die. He carried her to safety, tended to her wounds, and over the course of several days, the two formed an unlikely bond. Zynara was unlike any Zylothian Jack had ever encountered. Her scales shimmered like liquid gold, and her eyes held a depth of intelligence and compassion that defied the brutal reputation of her species. She spoke of a desire for peace, of a future where their two races could coexist. Jack, weary of war, found himself drawn to her vision and to her. When they were finally rescued, Zynara shocked everyone by declaring her love for Jack and announcing their engagement. The Zylothian Emperor, her father, was furious. But Zynara was adamant. She believed that their union could symbolize a new era of peace between humans and Zylothians. Reluctantly, the Emperor agreed on one condition. Jack had to prove his worth by undergoing a series of trials. Part 2. The Trials of the Groom. The trials were designed to test Jack's strength, courage, and loyalty. The first trial took place in the Caverns of Eternal Flame, where Jack had to retrieve a sacred gem from the heart of a volcano. Armed with only a heat-resistant suit and his wits, Jack navigated the treacherous terrain, avoiding rivers of molten lava and dodging eruptions. He reached the gem, but as he grabbed it, the ground beneath him began to collapse. With seconds to spare, he leaped to safety, the gem clutched tightly in his hand. The second trial was a test of combat. Jack was pitted against a Zylothian champion in a duel to the death. The champion, a towering warrior with razor-sharp claws, was a formidable opponent. But Jack's years of battlefield experience gave him an edge. He used his agility and tactical mind to outmaneuver the champion, eventually disarming him and forcing him to yield. The crowd, initially hostile, began to cheer for the human who had earned their respect. The final trial was the most challenging. Jack had to navigate the Labyrinth of Shadows, a maze filled with traps, illusions, and creatures that preyed on fear. The labyrinth was designed to break the spirit of anyone who entered. But Jack's determination to be with Zynara gave him the strength to push through. He faced his deepest fears, losing his comrades, failing his mission, being unworthy of Zynara's love, and emerged victorious. Part 3. The Wedding. With the trials completed, Jack was declared worthy. The wedding was to be a grand affair, attended by both human and Zylothian dignitaries. The ceremony took place in the Great Hall of the Zylothian Palace, a vast chamber adorned with glowing crystals and intricate carvings. Jack stood at the altar, dressed in a ceremonial uniform that blended human and Zylothian designs. He felt out of place, but the sight of Zynara walking down the aisle, radiant in her wedding gown, made it all worth it. The ceremony was a blend of human and Zylothian traditions. Vows were exchanged in both languages, symbolizing the union of their two cultures. Rings were replaced with bracelets made of a rare alloy that represented the strength of their bond. As the officiant declared them husband and wife, the room erupted in applause. Part 4. The Aftermath. The wedding was more than just a union of two individuals. It was a symbol of hope. The truce between humanity and the Zylothians held, and negotiations for a lasting peace began. Jack and Zynara became ambassadors, traveling between their two worlds to promote understanding and cooperation. But not everyone was happy with the new order. There were factions on both sides that opposed the peace. Jack and Zynara faced numerous threats, from assassination attempts to sabotage. But they faced them together, their love giving them the strength to overcome any obstacle. Years passed, and the galaxy began to heal. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges flourished, and former enemies became allies. Jack and Zynara's love story became legend, a testament to the power of love to bridge even the widest divides. Epilogue: A New Dawn. Jack stood on the balcony of their home on Zyloth Prime, looking out at the twin suns setting on the horizon. Zynara joined him, her golden scales glowing in the fading light. They had faced many challenges, but they had built a life together, a life filled with love, hope, and the promise of a brighter future. As they watched the stars come out, Jack thought about how far they had come. From the battlefield to the altar, their journey had been anything but easy. But it had been worth it. For in each other they had found not just love, but a purpose greater than themselves. And as the first stars of the night began to twinkle, Jack knew that their story was just the beginning. A new dawn was rising not just for them but for the entire galaxy. And together they would face whatever came next, hand in hand, heart in heart.